It's time for Tensions Running High, a Penrith Panthers podcast presented by the Western Weekender. Thanks to Penrith Toyota, here's Troy Dodds and Nathan Taylor.
Hello everyone and welcome to Tensions Running High, a Penrith Panthers podcast presented by the Western Weekender. This is episode 59. A big thanks to our sponsor Penrith Toyota, the highest quality on new and used cars. Visit penrithtoyota.com.au. I'm Troy Dodds, I'm joined by Nathan Taylor. Hello Nathan.
Hello Troy.
On this podcast we talk everything Penrith Panthers and we are well placed to do it. We have been there for all 6 premierships, the odd wooden spoon as well. We've bled Penrith for 30 years. On the agenda today we check out the new Penrith Stadium developments, plus potential new rule changes, details about the big farewell and memorial for John Farragher. So let's get underway. And Nathan, it's been a big week around town.
Yeah, it sure has, Troy. We've obviously finished the rugby league season officially on over the weekend. We had Australia beating England in the Ashes series in the UK over there, and of course at CommBank Stadium on Sunday. Samoa losing to the Kiwis. It was a hard one to tip because there were so many Penrith players in both teams, but New Zealand just showed their class in the end and were too good for the Samoans.
Yes, sure did. And a great international series, no doubt about that, to finish off the year. But I was out, of course, at what will be Penrith's new home in about a year's time at the new Penrith Stadium on Monday.
How'd you get the invite to that, Troy?
Yes, well, look, I got a call late last week while you were sunning yourself on the Gold Coast. Of course, checking out the cricket.
Yes, of course. Yeah,
we'll hear about that in a minute. And they said, look, we're going to invite a couple of Panthers legends. As well as a current player. Now, the current player never happened. I think it's probably pretty difficult to get players.
Did we know who that current player was going to be?
I didn't mention that. I think the only one who's kind of around Penrith at the moment is probably Mitch Kenny.
Yeah, probably.
But look, yeah, Craig Gower and Roy Simmons, they were going to have some sort of momentous moment as far as the new stadium build was concerned. So they only invited a couple of media outlets, Channel 9 and us, to come along and check this out. And basically what happened was Craig Gower, who of course captained Penrith to the 2003 premiership, and also Roy Simmons, who of course was the hero of the 1991 premiership success. They put their boots into the freshly laid concrete, freshly poured concrete there, as well as their initials, and that'll form part of the Western Grandstand, and they'll forever be part of the Western Grandstand. Yeah, it's
like the Mann's Chinese Theatre in Hollywood there with the handprints and the boot prints and the concrete. So what are they going to do with this, Troy? This masterpiece that got created by those two legends?
Well, yeah, it'll form part of the new Western Grandstand, which is the first grandstand being built, it would seem. I think it was the last one to come down, was it? Or did they...
I think the West came down first, then it was the East.
Well, then they're going back in order because they're doing the West first. So the concrete pour happened there. Now, it was already happening. I know that they like for these media landmarks to be like, well, this is actually the first. We always know it's not.
Yeah.
The concrete was already underway, being poured before we got there, but they had a special slab there. And look, I spoke to Craig Gower afterwards. He thought it was a great honour that he'd be part of that. I'm not actually sure where this is going to sit. Like, are you going to walk across it every time?
Are they going to put some glass over it to protect it?
So I don't know.
Will fans be getting photos with it when they're in round 1, 2027?
Yeah, not sure about that, but it will be forever enshrined there in the stadium. So look, probably a good nod. We've talked about things like statues and whatnot, which we still think should happen, but at least something there to one of those two.
Of course, Troy. And you noticed something quite unique over there at the stadium on Monday. I believe there's a special eatery that's been built.
Well, I thought what was interesting is I think there's been a bit of criticism of, gee, this is sort of slow going. But once you get into that construction site, put on your Bob the Builder hat and your fluoro vest to walk around, your high-vis vest, you notice just how many people are working there. There's hundreds of things going on at the stadium site at the moment, even though from the outside it potentially doesn't look that way. And yes, they've got their own full-service cafe that operates as part of the stadium build. So you get your hamburgers and your hot chips and pies and whatnot. So a bit of a unique cafe to work at if you were working at it. But Yeah, it looked like it was busy.
Yeah, excellent.
Coffees on Monday morning there. All the big wigs there, of course. Peter Graham and Matt Cameron there to check all of this out, and Karen McEwen, the state MP. I did overhear a Venues New South Wales person mistaking Roy Simmons for Greg Alexander.
Of course, because they look so similar to those two.
Need some improved local knowledge when they do operate the stadium. But look, a good nod, I thought, to the Panthers, and good to see that the stadium redevelopment is kicking along, and hopefully in time for March 2027.
I was going to ask that. Did you get any indication that this thing was on track? Obviously, it's still, when we drive past, it's still quite flat over there. But when can we expect some grandstands to start to rise from the ground there, I guess? Yeah,
well, that's the next milestone moment, I guess. So the concrete pour is considered a significant milestone. The next milestone is the steel, sort of the first steel coming in.
Like
so
the frames and stuff.
We're going to see that next year. Now, they are adamant that they are on track, and I've said before, I'll tell you why they'll be on track, because we have a state election in March 2027. Mm-hmm. So I really don't think that we are going to have a situation where they can't cut a ribbon on this thing in time.
Yeah, well, hopefully that's the case. We're going to chat about it soon, but obviously the NRL has released the draw, and Penrith aren't even playing at home in the first couple of weeks next season anyway. So if they probably could delay it a couple of weeks if they wanted to.
They could delay it, but this is why I don't think they will, because they will want that election, like when you think about it, let me find out. So the next election is the 27th of March.
Okay, so that's what, round 3 or 4
they could round 3 or 4.
Yeah.
They will be desperate, like as we give you the bit of an insight into what happens here, they will be desperate for around the 13th to 20th of March for Karen McEwen on the slimmest of margins here in Penrith to cut that ribbon just in time. Because the opposite problem would be if they're not ready and we're going to an election with Karen McEwen on a very slim margin, and they've got to admit, this thing's not ready.
Yeah.
It will be ready.
It will be ready.
Chris Minns will be out here with Karen cutting that ribbon on March 2027. I guarantee you.
Let's hope so.
The paint the wet paint sign could still be up by the time we're going in for the first game. Gosh. They will be ready.
What could delay it though? Obviously, weather is a big factor.
Weather's the only factor I think that probably delays it. They'll get there otherwise.
Yeah.
They'll work Saturdays, Sundays, whatever. Obviously, not heavily built residential, so they could probably work longer hours. But if we go through 3 months of pouring rain or something next year,
we're in trouble.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
But look, that's the latest from the other stadium, so always good to check in on that. Now, moving forward, we saw the AFL this week. They're getting slammed from pillar to post because they've implemented Buzz Rothfield's idea. They've seen this from Buzz, and they've said, let's do that, and that is the wildcard weekend. So from next season in the AFL, instead of that full bye weekend that they are now going to have 7th playing 10th and 8th playing 9th, 2 extra finals games. Do you like it, and should we be implementing it in the NRL?
Oh, look, I don't know if I like it or not. It's obviously, we haven't really seen it in Australian sport before. This has been introduced in the NBA and NFL in recent years, where those teams that finish 7th to 10th are still in the running at the end of the season it's called a play-in tournament, and they can play into the playoffs. So it is quite well known overseas, but we have yet to see it in Australia until now. Yes, it was floated a few years ago for the NRL, and a lot of feedback was like, no. A lot of traditionalists come out and said, no, we have to love the top 8 system. That's how it is. But I think if the AFL are willing to dip their toe and give it a crack, despite the backlash, it wouldn't surprise me if the NRL do the same. They'll probably check out how popular it is. Those games will be very popular, don't get me wrong, but if that happened this year, Penrith would have been in that wildcard tournament because we finished 7th this year, right? So I guess it's just about, once you implement it, it's about changing people's minds and perceptions, and it'll eventually be the new norm. But look, I'm not totally against it.
All right. Well, I am. I just don't like it. I just think you are rewarding. First of all, yes, you're rewarding mediocrity, like the team that finishes 10th. Like, it's not about the fact that the team that finishes 10th gets a shot at the finals. For me, it's the fact that you're saying the team that finished 10th is in no real better position than the team that finished 7th. Like, that's a very significant
But
sort of thing you're saying to this 10th place team.
if everything plays out like they should, 7th and 8th should be winning because they are the better teams.
Okay, but if we're going to use that as the excuse, why are we
should be
bothering?
winning.
Why are we bothering?
Because it adds a bit of an extra level of excitement. It keeps those teams that are coming 9th and 10th something to play for, and it gives us something to, I guess, are those fans of the Tigers or the Dragons who often finish that low, something to play for.
Why don't we give 11th something to play for?
Well, because you've got to draw the line somewhere.
Well, yeah, but okay, so this year, if the NRL implemented this, Penrith would have been forced to play the Sea Eagles in that wildcard weekend, and the Roosters would have played the Dolphins. And to win the competition, a 7th place team will have to win 5 finals matches. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
And you put it like that, of course. Yeah, 5 finals matches sounds ridiculous. But
don't you think we've actually tried to make it like we almost not criticise, but we're almost it's impossible to win out of the top 4. But I think we'd all like to see a team from outside the top 4 win it. Like we'd like to see that happen.
Yeah, you
now,
are making
this
it
would just
harder.
make it more difficult,
of course. And then obviously those teams that finished 1 to 6 get the week off. They get a week rest. It's a massive advantage, of course. So they get some more incentive to finish higher up the ladder, Troy.
7th to 10th becomes almost pointless.
Let's finish higher up the ladder. But what if Penrith come 10th? Then would you be calling for it?
No, because I don't think we should be playing finals when you make.
What if
10th?
all those teams finished on the exact same amount of competition points, only for and against got them?
Well, look, if you want to go back to the old days, I'm happy to have a playoff for 8th if that happens.
Okay, so how did that work?
Throw that in.
I
think it was midweek. I think it was midweek. 8th and 9th would have to play. Well, back in those days, it was like a playoff for 5th, where we didn't go on the whole for and against scenario. And I think that's how Penrith played their first finals game. They had a playoff for 5th. At the SCG, and managed to get through and then got beaten, I think, in week 1.
It's obviously a brave move by the AFL. I didn't even know that they were even entertaining this idea at all, and they've just sort of pulled it out of nowhere, it seems. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't follow that.
Well, it's yes and no. They were needing to do something about that bye weekend that they implemented a few years ago.
Yeah.
Now, they implemented that because players were being mass rested in the final round, which is something the NRL does have an issue with as well. And so they thought, what we'll do is we'll have a bye round, and that will mean that players have to play in that final weekend because you're not going to rest them for 2 weeks. Yeah. There's been a lot of criticism of that bye weekend, though, and the fact that it kind of just means that there's no footy while you're leading into the finals. So instead of just getting rid of it, this is their solution. They're going to put 2 games in. And look, don't get me wrong, they will draw massive crowds, massive TV ratings, and at the end of the day, if that's what it's about, then you can be sure that Peter V'landys will follow. One thing that is for sure is that it is more likely that we'll have a wildcard round than this crackpot idea that the NRL leaked to the media on the weekend just to get some reaction. And I obviously can't confirm they leaked that, but that's my suspicion. And that is that the team who scores the try will kick off. A massive rule change. Now, surely that is just a furphy. Won't happen.
No. Well, look, you are obviously right. The NRL, we can't confirm, but that's what they do. They leak these things to certain media outlets, these ideas, these concepts. They gauge what the public think by the reaction on social media or on the radio and whatnot, and then they sort of, make their decision whether they proceed with it. But this one, this one doesn't fly with me either. I remember back in like 97, the Super League era.
Super League did it,
I think that's the last time I'd seen it happen in Australian rugby league, at least. And obviously back then, we that was all we knew, so we just went with it. But thinking to now, that would be quite a silly thing for us to introduce. It just doesn't need to happen. What are their reasonings as to why they want this to happen?
Well, one of the reasons I've seen, and this is why it's ludicrous, is that they're saying that obviously once a team gets momentum, it's hard to arrest back that momentum, and we've got too many blowout scorelines. Now, it was only a year ago or 2 years ago that we were talking about having the closest season ever. Now, because we've had some blowout scorelines, we're all in panic mode, apparently. Yeah. But let me just advise the NRL, the reason that you have blowout scorelines and momentum sticking with a team is because referees are addicted to set restarts that they wouldn't have previously blown. We never had 30 penalties in a game, yet now if you add up penalties and set restarts, you're heading towards 30.
Yeah.
So maybe if they, stopped giving teams consistent possession on the line for minor infractions, well, maybe they wouldn't have the blowout scoreline.
Yeah, and that's what's giving those teams the momentum and tiring out other teams. So, look, I don't think this one will get up, judging by the reaction out there online this past week. And like we said earlier, the NRL pitched this wildcard weekend idea a few years ago, obviously via journalists and whatnot, and we never saw that get up either. So it's a good way to gauge it rather than just chuck a new rule in out of nowhere. But this one I don't see getting up at all.
No, I don't think so. And that is edging us way too close to where we were in Super League. And look, we talk about the game being in a good position. Sometimes you can just be like, you know what, let's just leave good enough alone. Tweak little things, but there's so many rules that we should be tweaking before that. The ridiculous talking of teams given unfair advantages, the ridiculous 7 tackle set scenarios when a grubber might go one bounce or one roll over the dead ball line, or you drop the ball over the line trying to score a try, and your punishment is a 7 tackle set.
Yeah, that's the one they should really focus on changing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, well, we don't think that will happen, so we'll see what happens when Peter V'landys sits down with the commission and then just decides what he wants to do. Hey, by the way, the Western Weekender's new app has launched. It's a new way to read the paper, plus local news at your fingertips, and there's great offers from local businesses too, including free gym trials, discounts at retailers, and local restaurants. Breaking news alerts to your phone, so much more. Download the Western Weekender app on the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store now. Now, Nathan, we had a bit of a surprise this morning. The NRL dropped the round 1 fixtures. Now, have you seen anywhere, before we go through those fixtures, does this mean we're getting the full draw tomorrow, like a Thursday situation? Or?
Well, yeah, I think that's sort of the scuttle out on the socials, is that we usually do get a draw sort of later on in the week, like a Thursday, Friday drop. I think in previous years I remember writing a draw on a Thursday before pitch. So look, I think that could be the case. I think we are closing in on a draw. Whether it comes tomorrow or on Friday, I'm not sure, but it sounds like it's done at least. Like the AI machines, which I still don't understand if that is true or not, if they've really put this through an AI thing and we've spat out this draw, but somehow AI just knew Penrith Brisbane would be the game for us for the opening weekend. But hopefully we do get a draw in the next couple of days, because it'll be interesting to see just when Penrith actually play their first home game, because we know that due to some soccer matches, some women's soccer matches, that CommBank Stadium will be unavailable for a few weeks.
Now, have you got any dates this year? Like when the draw comes out, you always look at, I hope there's no game on that date. Now, normally you're going to a Snoop Dogg concert or something. We got anything next year?
Not that I know of. Not at the moment. No,
Okay.
nothing sort of locked in at the moment. No.
I've got to admit, I'm trying to avoid a little bit of a game around that Nashville period, because I am heading back to Nashville. But in saying that, it doesn't feel as bad when you miss CommBank Stadium games as it does missing Penrith games. But look, let's go through round 1. So we already knew the first 2 games because they are in Vegas. Sunday, March 1 Australian time at Allegiant Stadium, the Bulldogs and the Dragons, followed by the Knights and the Cowboys. But the games that have been announced this morning, Thursday, the 5th of March, Melbourne play Parramatta at Amy Park. Then on Saturday, the 6th of March, we've got the Warriors and the Roosters at 6 o'clock, followed by the Broncos and the Panthers. That's definitely match of the round as far as the season opening weekend is concerned. Suncorp Stadium, Friday the 6th of March. That will be a sellout. The defending premiers, Brisbane, of course, up against the might of the Panthers. Super Saturday, we'll see the Sharks take on the Titans, and the Sea Eagles take on the Raiders. That means Jamal Fogarty will play his former club in the opening weekend. And then the Wayne Bennett Cup, the Dolphins and the Rabbitohs on Sunday the 8th of March at Suncorp Stadium. The West Tigers will kick off the season with 2 free competition points thanks to the bye. What do we think of the Broncos, the first up
matchup?
I
think it's perfect. I think they've nailed it, definitely, Troy. That's the game that obviously Penrith lost their incredible dynasty on, I guess, in the prelim final, losing to Brisbane up there after they made a huge comeback down 14-0. So I think Penrith will be just wetting their lips to get that game back against the Premiers. You're right, that'll be sold out as soon as those tickets go on sale. I think everyone in Brisbane are going to want to snap those up, and hopefully some Penrith fans get a chance to get some of those tickets as well, because that's going to be huge. And don't be surprised if Penrith are just win that one because they would just be so desperate for some sort of revenge, and they get it straight up, which I think is even better.
It does often happen. You sort of have that rematch of the grand final and the other team wins it. I don't know if it really means much, but it makes you feel better anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
Just a little bit. So, yeah, that's round one. We'll see the rest of the draw come out. They have revealed the Origin draw as well. 3 Wednesdays yet again. We kick off this time in Sydney at Accor Stadium on Wednesday the 27th of May. Then we're off to Melbourne for the MCG on Wednesday the 17th of June, and then Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane on Wednesday the 8th of July. I read somewhere in the last few weeks we're thinking about New Zealand for an Origin.
For 2027.
They're going to have to kick this off at 9:30 in New Zealand.
New Zealand time,
yes.
to work with Australian time, which just seems crazy, but if they've got to do it, they've got to do it.
Yeah, that's 9:30. That's pretty full on.
Yeah. By the time we'd finish, it'd be like near midnight.
Yeah. You know that what the talk will be after that, of course, is how good was a 7:30 kickoff? Let's make sure we're staying with 7:30.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. All right, well, that's round one coming up next year. Of course, it feels like it's just around the corner.
I know.
Already.
We just finished the season. Yeah, now we're really looking forward to it.
Now, last week we spoke about John Farragher, of course, loss of a great Penrith icon, and it's been great seeing the tributes to him over the last week. But and his funeral's in Gilgandra on Saturday, so there's going to be a fairly big contingent, I'm sure, coming from Penrith to Gilgandra in country New South Wales. But the Panthers have announced a memorial service as well.
Yeah, of course, Troy. Next Thursday afternoon, I believe, at the Western Sydney Conference Centre, they'll be holding a memorial for John. Beautiful centre there, a great function centre, so that the plenty of space for a huge turnout. You have to admit a lot of people have to get the afternoon off work, or people that have known John for a very long time that couldn't make the Gilgandra trip will definitely be at this function. And then I believe straight after that they're heading to the backyard at Panthers for a bit of a more of a relaxed, more wake vibe, I'd imagine. But yeah, I think Panthers are calling for people that have any photos or memories of John to send them in, so they can use that in slideshows and things like that. So yeah, that'll be a huge occasion, and one very deserving for a great man. Yep,
Panthers website. You can RSVP on there. I think they're just looking for an indication of numbers. You don't have to sort of put your names or anything like that, but an invitation to come along to this for the entire community, Thursday the 27th of November, and that'll be great to pay tribute to John. As a side note, you called it the Western Sydney Conference Centre. Do you know this venue has an identity crisis? Because
Why is that?
I believe it's now called the Western Sydney Convention Centre.
Really?
They've actually changed the name.
Where have they changed? I didn't see an announcement.
I believe it's been changed. I think it's the convention. It's either one or the other. Whether it was one, but it's definitely changed. It definitely
I've always known it as the conference.
Okay, well then it's changed
Centre.
to the convention centre.
Really? But they don't hold conventions there. They hold more conferences there than anything.
I don't know. All I know is that it's now the Western Sydney.
Let's just call it the Pullman. Centre. Just at the Pullman Hotel there.
Just at the new one. Not the new one. Not the tent. Remember the tent? How good was the tent?
Yes, the pavilion they called that. Yeah.
All right, but yeah, we'll be looking forward to paying tribute to John Farragher. That's coming up on the 27th, and make sure you can get there if you can get off work. But look, a really important icon in the Penrith area. All right, well, let's change the tone, have a bit of fun. Panthers Leagues Club. We've got some emails have come through from our listeners, of course. Bill was the first one, and he said, look, you know, the John Farragher news made me think of when I used to go to Panthers Leagues Club. He says every Thursday night to play snooker, and John Farragher was normally still there when he got there late on a Thursday afternoon.
Yep.
And he said, like, so what are your favourite memories from the old school Panthers back in the day? So we're going to go to you first. Panthers Leagues Club as it was as you're growing up.
Well, I have a few, Troy, because obviously I spent a lot of time there for various reasons as a kid growing up. I'll start with my 18th birthday. Ooh. I had that at Panarotti's.
Ooh, well, that would have been the old Panarotti's where you accessed from the foyer.
Yeah, the original Panarotti's. One of the great pizza restaurants that Penrith's ever had.
So I'll test you on that.
Yes.
If you can think about the old foyer and where it was, I can see where it was.
Yeah.
Where is it? Where is Panarotti's? The old Panarotti's now. What is it now? In theory.
Oh, geez, I have no idea.
Because everything moved, everything changed around.
Yeah, maybe the lake or something like that.
Yeah,
out that way potentially.
Yeah,
because all the entrances and everything sort of
changed,
just got remodeled. So I'm not really. That's a good question. I have to see the blueprints or something like that. But that's where I had my 18th birthday. Believe it or not. Growing up, they used to have a cinema there. I think where the Evan Theatre was around that area. I remember seeing Alice in Wonderland at. There must have been a re-showing of it. It wasn't like the 1950s when I think it actually got released. So I remember seeing Alice in Wonderland. The Carvery, we used to go to the Carvery all the time for lunches on a weekend with family. You'd get your tray and you'd go along and pick your stuff out of the cabinet or whatever. The Carvery was huge. I remember having another birthday. Remember downstairs used to be Chaos, Hungry Jack's, and the Turbo Ride.
Yeah.
So I think I was like my 12th birthday, and my dad took me and my two best mates down there and had a whole bunch of fun in that precinct. And also growing up, I played a lot of tennis, Troy.
Okay,
and obviously the famous tennis courts used to be at Panthers. And I remember being in even a local comp with my mate, and we were doubles partners, and we used to go down there all the time and play tennis. So yeah, Panthers used to be not saying it's not good now, but it used to be really fun. It used to be lots of activities and lots of different things for all ages to do. And of course, I have to mention this: the nightclubs, Troy.
Yes,
the nightclubs. There was even an underage nightclub that I used to attend. They used to be called Club Nitro. It used to be in the Evan Theatre, and every week they'd have a home and away starlet there that you could get photos with. I remember meeting Beck Cartwright and Tammin Sursok back-to-back weeks, and getting photos with those two girls. So, they, as I said, there used to be lots and lots to do for all ages. But these days it's a little bit different.
Similar memories with that cinema that you talk of.
Yes.
I have a story about that cinema. So I don't know what year it was, but I had seen Home Alone already at the cinemas twice.
Yep.
Okay, but I was like, I love this movie. I want to go
like
again.
The Hayden Theatre or something?
Yeah, probably there at the Hayden.
Yeah.
And now previously at Panthers, there was no tickets required for the free movie that was in that cinema.
Was it?
Yeah, it was free, and you just went in. You just went in, got your popcorn, and sat down somewhere and watched this movie. But the rule obviously changed at some point, and so I'm begging my dad to take me to see Home Alone for the third time. We rock up there, and they say, no, you need tickets now, and it's sold out.
Oh.
And I remember I still have this thought that I was devastated. Now, my thought of it has changed, and I feel so sorry for my dad, because he must have been like, I've let him down. He wanted to see Home Alone for the third time. I definitely remember the movie. Definitely remember the Carvery. The Carvery was great. I don't know why, because I don't feel like we were that poor. But I remember at the Carvery, my parents used to be like, "Just get one drink, make sure out of the fountain thing, and we'll just share that one,
share that drink between us all."
The big night out at the Carvery, and yes, you used to pick your little dessert.
Yes,
there,
they used to do really good crepes too, Troy. Hawaiian crepe. Yep,
they did. So they're definitely my best Leagues Club memories, but also just as I turned 18, I think like most, you end up being Panthers ends up being the first place for a while. So
of course, I met my wife at Panthers, Troy.
There you go.
On a night out in 2006.
Yep.
I was actually on a night out with another girl. And
dumped her.
And then dumped her when I saw my wife walk by. So very, very special memories there.
All right. Well, we want to hear your Panthers memories too. Podcast at westernweekender.com.au. And Jimmy, we got an email from Jimmy just this morning.
Oh, what?
And Jimmy said, now that the footy is over, what TV shows are you boys watching at the moment? And what's two shows from the past that Jimmy should go back and watch?
Oh, okay.
So, I don't know why Jimmy thinks that we're the TV. Well, you are, of course. Nathan writes Chatter on the Box.
I love the TV, yes,
every
of
week.
Course.
But all right, Jimmy, I'm here for you. Nathan looks like
I've got a list.
He's got his own list.
I've got a list, and when I watch the episode, I mark it off because I've got so many to keep up with.
Wow. Okay, that's different.
Yeah. No, I've got so many on the run. I'm the TV reporter. I've got to keep up with what's going on.
I do rate shows.
Yeah, so you do the rating. You jump on IMDb and rate your show like anyone.
But I do rate. But you know what that allows me to do is at the end of the year, I go, okay, well, what shows did I give this term, whatever my highest, that's my show of the year.
Yeah, and will you tell that to the public? Like, will you do an announcement on Instagram or something?
Look, generally not. But look, All
right, what are you watching, Troy, at the moment?
Okay, well, I've just kicked off watching Pluribus.
Yes, I can tick that one off too. Yep, so, I'm also on the Pluribus train.
Look, I'm going to give that, at the moment, I give that about an 8.
Yeah.
It's not up there for me with Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul so far, and obviously it's a Vince Gilligan show.
I just watched episode 1. I haven't seen episode 2 yet. Probably watch that tonight.
Yeah,
so you're already up to date with episode 2.
Yep,
as well?
I watched both of them last night.
Okay.
So look, I think it'll be good. I think it'll be good. The other show I am watching at the moment, now this is not going to win any awards, but I am watching 911 Nashville.
Me too.
Which is the
on Disney Plus.
Yeah, Disney Plus, which is the new show in the 911 universe.
Yep.
Now, the only reason you would watch this is because of how bad it is. Like, it's terrible. But it's kind of one of those shows you're like, well, you have to watch it.
It's entertaining, and if you've been to Nashville, it's good to be able to spot some of the different sites and different places that you've been to as well.
Absolutely. And look, as for the past, Jimmy, well, I just mentioned them there. I really don't think you can go past Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, which... You know that there's a lot of Better Call Saul fans a lot of Breaking Bad fans who are... so into Breaking Bad, but they just never really gave Better Call Saul a chance, and they've never watched it. And
really?
Yes, so many.
Still?
So many that I speak to who are Breaking Bad fans.
There's so many tiebacks, and there's so many cameos and everything.
There sure is, and let me tell you, I think it's better.
Yeah,
I actually think Better Call Saul is better than Breaking Bad.
That's a big call. I think it's close. It might be on par, but to say it's better, wow,
I think
that's
it's
a
better.
huge call.
So that's my 2. And if you want a random show to go back to, like a procedural to go back to, because then you can jump into spin-offs.
Yeah,
The Good Wife.
Okay.
Great show. Okay. Great show. Great legal drama. Some good twists in there. A bit quirky. The creators are a bit quirky. And then there's been The Good Fight and Elsbeth as spin-offs. So you can stay in that universe.
You can stay in the universe
for as long as you like. So there you go, Jimmy. I've
well done, Jimmy.
What else you got?
Oh, well, Jimmy, I've obviously got a bit of a different taste to Troy, of course. So I've been getting a lot of the preview episodes of NCI Sydney. Love NCI Sydney. We're currently in the midst of season 3.
I gave that up after 3
In fact,
episodes,
Troy, I was watching it the other night because I've got a few of the early episodes released, and there's an old colleague of ours that features in episode 5 of NCI Sydney.
An old colleague?
He worked in sales. He used to be famous for his specials.
Ali. Oh, wow. Ali
Alali is in NCI Sydney. I am not joking.
Is he playing a bodyguard? Or?
He I think he's part of some sort of terrorist organisation or something like that. But Ali is in that. So it was very, very cool to see.
Have they done anything outside of Sydney Harbour yet? Like, have they come to Penrith for an episode?
Well, they've actually gone out to the Outback. We've gone out to the Outback a couple of times. We went to Wetherill Park actually in last night's episode. Yeah.
So we could get to Penrith.
We could get to Penrith. It's possible.
Sort of terrorist cell out regatta centre or something.
And it's very popular. It's doing very well in the ratings here and overseas, believe it or not. So that's a great show. I'm still struggling through the morning show on Apple TV.
No, I'm still with that as well.
It's not as good as the first couple of seasons.
Definitely not.
It's sort of petered down in seasons 3 and 4, but still on the train. Golden Bachelor. I've got one episode to go in that.
Please.
I somehow got onto it, and I didn't mind it actually. I was bagging it out before I even saw an episode, and I sort of don't mind it. And we're down to the final 2 at the moment, so watch out on Sunday to see who wins.
Can't wait.
What's the other one I'm watching? Nobody Wants This on Netflix, season 2 of that.
I haven't watched that.
That's obviously a very popular show, and this one's really good, Troy. You obviously got Apple TV because you're watching Pluribus. Knife's Edge.
Okay,
you heard of Knife's Edge?
No,
it's more of it's more of an observational series about Michelin stars, and they go around to different cities, and each episode you follow a couple of restaurants in different cities, and it's about them chasing either their first Michelin star or their second Michelin star. And obviously if you go to a top end restaurant, that's all they crave is Michelin stars. That's how they rate themselves. So this is a really cool series, and it's really well done, and it's just fantastic. Knife's Edge.
Knife's Edge, check it out.
For shows that I think you should check out, if you've never seen Ted Lasso, I keep saying it is probably one of the best shows ever made. Check out Ted Lasso on Apple TV+. And one that I loved so much earlier this year was The Pitt. on HBO Max.
Yep.
That was one of the best series I've seen ever in my whole life, and that's back in January for season 2. So if you're into medical dramas, which I am not, I'm not into medical dramas ever. Never watched ER, never watched any of those.
What about The Resident?
Nah, never seen. Hated it. I hate hospitals, so I never liked it. But somehow the way this show is made, it just got me straight away. So The Pit on HBO Max.
The Pit was very good. At the moment, according to my individualized IMDb rating system, Landman will go down as the show of the year.
Yes, okay.
It could get me.
Season 2 is just about to start.
Yes,
I've got the first couple of episodes.
I'm actually going to
Troy.
save it.
Oh, you're going to save them up
over the summer period.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's the one I have on my list, but I have not yet watched.
All right, there you go, Jimmy.
It'll be a summer watch.
If you do want to catch up with all the TV news, exclusive in our print edition every week, we've got Chatter on the Box. Nathan writes that, and the Chatter on the Box Awards, of course, coming up. Someone will get the trapdoor.
The last edition of the year.
Someone will get the trapdoor this year.
We've rested trapdoor the award, but we could bring it back. If someone annoys me, chuck them down the trapdoor.
Bring it back. All right, now to finish this week, last week, Nathan, you headed to the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
And it was, the reason for this was to show the Gold Coast is a little bit more than just, your classic family holiday over summer.
Yeah.
Tell us about the Gold Coast.
Yeah, Troy, obviously, this time last week, I was boarding a flight to Coolangatta Airport for a solo mission to the Gold Coast. It's my first ever time I've gone on a holiday or away anywhere sort of on my own without a friend or my wife or a family member. So it was a bit of a unique experience. But upon landing, I picked up a car at our good friends Hertz, obviously big sponsors of the Panthers, and had this itinerary put together by the experienced Gold Coast team, which is basically the Gold Coast Tourism Board. And I had 3 days worth of all sorts of different activities that I had to sort of complete. It was sort of my own little amazing race out there because I sort of had to be here at this point, get an Uber here, drive here, get a shuttle bus there. So it was fantastic. Stayed at the Sofitel on Broadbeach. Actually, the Indian cricket team was staying in my building, as we mentioned last week, and I actually did share a lift with a few of them when I was getting in and out of the pool, Troy. So that was interesting, but I didn't say anything to them. I wasn't allowed to speak to them, as we know. I got pre-warned, so I was on my best behaviour there. But it was fantastic. Enjoyed plenty of great restaurants and around the Broadbeach area, cafes, and of course enjoyed the cricket. Went to where the Gold Coast Suns play at People First Stadium, which is old Carrara Stadium. I think back in the day the Seagulls may have played there, the Gold Coast Seagulls, and that place was fantastic. It was awesome seeing the cricket. And then I did some fun activities as well. So I did some jet boating around the waters there on the Gold Coast. Which is
big for you because you almost drowned at the Sydney International Regatta Centre.
Yeah. So I didn't have to get in the water, thankfully. So I was safe. I was harnessed in. And that was one of the coolest experience. So if you're on the Gold Coast, head to Arrow Jet. It's where SeaWorld is. And you can have a great sort of 45-minute trip out on the jet boat. And I also did some kayaking and snorkeling, Troy, in those similar waters where the jet boats were flying around. I was kayaking out with dolphins, got to snorkel, see lots of tropical fish. I was quite surprised by because I thought all the tropical fish would be more up north where the Barrier Reef is, but there is actually plenty there on the Gold Coast as well. It was just a real fun time, plenty to do. Obviously, sport was a big focus, and they want people to go there for different sporting events. Obviously, not just the Titans or the Suns, but obviously they've got the Matildas there next year. They've got the cricket there now, and all sorts of different things. But while you're there, check out everything else that you can on the Gold Coast. The restaurants, there's so many restaurants. I said to them, I don't know how you all stay alive because there are so many. Like, you're inundated. Every chain restaurant possible is on Service Paradise, but then you've got sort of more original sort of stuff around the Broadbeach area, and it was really cool.
And how did you cop dining alone? It's a big question, dining alone. Did you care dining alone?
No, it didn't bother me too much. When I was at the cafes, it was okay because I feel like a lot of people go to cafes for breakfast or a coffee and something and sit alone. But when I was more at the high-end restaurants and like table for one, thanks. But they sort of... to peek behind the curtain, they sort of knew I was coming. They knew I was getting sent from the Gold Coast Tourism. They knew my meal was going to be comped. So you had a lot of waiters coming up and offering you recommendations and just having a chat to find out like why you're in town and things like that. So so dining alone wasn't too bad, but I don't want to have to get used to it. I prefer to share my meals with other people.
I was in Melbourne, of course, a couple of weeks ago.
You would have been on your own too.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I went to dinner one night at Pellegrini's, which is very easy to do. Pellegrini's
is that like a fancy place?
It's not really. It's a very old Melbourne institution.
Oh, right, yes.
But it is very supportive of single person diners. So it's got a bench diner sort of thing. Sit up at the bar. So there's a lot of single diners there. So no dramas at that one. Then I went to like this little sort of Japanese steak restaurant on the second night, and their tables for one are against a wall. So you're facing
a wall.
Basically, get put and you just face a brick wall.
That's a bit unfair. You want to face the other way, at least so you can see things.
Yeah, well, that's right. I thought that was a bit bizarre that they were basically like, here's your spot in there.
It was a lot easier to get a booking when you're on your own, though.
Well, yes, obviously it would be. There's a photo. There's me.
That was you. That's what you looked at.
That's what I looked at for my meal for one at Yapari Steak.
And what made you go there? Was this somewhere you seeked out that you wanted to go to?
No, I did for Pellegrini's, but for this one, no, I just went roaming around and
just said, I'll go here.
Yeah, just went there. So.
What do Pellegrini's sell?
It's an Italian restaurant. Pasta and mainly pasta and I said, have you got a menu? He's like, the menu's up there on the board. The board, I reckon, is more faded out than anything. I'm like, I got no idea. So I basically just chose the one thing I could see.
They didn't have a physical menu?
Definitely not, no.
Oh, jeez.
No, very old school.
Okay.
Pellegrini's.
I thought physical menus would be part of the old school thing. And, digital menus are more new school.
Just the board up on and then very much known for their coffees.
Yep.
While I was there, someone came and ordered an iced coffee, and the barista had never heard of that.
Never heard of an iced coffee?
He wasn't happy to have to make an iced coffee, so there you go.
There you go.
All right, well, look, that is it for Tensions Running High. Now, we're going to be back for our final episode next week.
Season finale.
So if there's anything that you want to toss at us, podcast at westernweekender.com.au. We will answer your questions in our final episode of the year. But back next Wednesday for that final episode. Visit westernweekender.com.au. Download the app on the Apple App Store or Google Play. And follow us on all the socials. Check out our print edition, of course, out every Thursday. The Masked Panther still going.
I can't believe
it.
Every
Thursday, he's going to let us know when he wants to take a break. I'm Troy Dodds. Nathan, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Troy.
And thanks to Penrith Toyota for their sponsorship as well. If you're a 67er, a Brandy and Royce convert, a Gerds guy or girl, you're on the bandwagon for the first time. We are all in this together. Let's go Panthers, and we will see you next week.